Calyrex-S Zacian is the restricted duo that won the World Championship in 2022, but we don't see it too often anymore. However, its best placement so far in Generation 9 was a top 4 at the Japan National Championship. We're going to be trying out that team and seeing how well it can perform. This world's winning duo was able to get top 4 at the JCS and has some really good tools across the board in an offensive tailwind team. Let's break them down. First up, we have the Crown Form Zacian with the Rusted Sword and the Intrepid Sword, which is able to give it a +1 attack boost once per game when it enters the field, with the Fairy Terra type, which is able to boost the power of its play rough, but also get rid of any weaknesses it might have as a Steel type, with Behemoth Blade, Play Rough, Sacred Sword, and Protect. Zacian is just an interesting restricted because it has really good tools, especially into like a lot of the common cores, like the Miraidon, which is one of the most popular Pokemon. It's one of the few Pokemon that can actually outspeed a Miraidon and threaten it pretty heavily with a super effective play rough, especially with a +1. And then you have other factors that's able to dish out a lot of damage with the Behemoth Blade to cover like Calyrex Ice Rider, the Fairy Terras on the Miraidon as well. So it's able to do a good amount of work. And then Sacred Sword is able to ignore the defense boost that the Zamazenta gets. So it's actually able to hit Pokemon like the Terapagos and the Zamazenta for really good amounts of damage. It's not exactly the strongest though, as it was previously, because they did nerf the attack stat, as well as play rough not being the exact most accurate attack. However, it is still a pretty strong mon with a good amount of tools that it does have access to. The EV spread will be a pretty bulky Zacian Crown. This is 204 HP. That gives you a number that is 16, a number divisible by 16, and then you add a 1 because an odd HP stat will give you better chances after taking a Ruination or a Super Fang for 51% of health, which could matter in some situations, while also getting the max amount of grassy terrain recovery you can get with the Zacian. Then you run 180 speed with a Jolly Nature. This allows you to pretty much speed creep a lot of the things like Calyrex Shadow Rider that don't run max speed, although they really should, and a few Pokemon that just outspeed the base 135s. This gives you an extra jump point in attack and then an extra point. So most likely just going to be speed creeping a lot of the other Zacians that don't run max speed on the Zacian. So this is a speed creep number, so you can invest a little bit more extra again to have bulk. 100 attack, so it's still able to dish out a good amount of damage, 20 in defense and 4 in special defense. It is a very fast, hard-hitting mon that is able to tank attacks. Not as hard hitting as it was in Sword and Shield, but it will do the job that it needs to do. Next Pokemon we have is the Focus Sash Calyrex Shadow Rider with the As-1 ability with the Ghost Terra type to power up its Astral Barrage with the Encore, Disable, Astral Barrage, and Protect. Yeah, I think Calyrex Shadow with the Focus Sash is still really powerful. Not running a Psychic move, you don't really need it on this team though, because Encore and Disable are very disruptive moves, and we've seen it before on like this Terapagos teams that were run really early in the format, but we don't really see this set too often. Normally we see one of Encore, Disable, maybe Psychic and Astral Barrage, but having both can just be very disruptive. And again, Japan Nationals tends to be a close team sheet, so if you find like a Choice Specs Miraidon, or if you find any Choice Mons, then you're able to play accordingly with Encore, Disable. Encore is just able to put Pokemon that locked into a move that was just very awkward into really unfavorable positions, and then Disable is just able to just shut down Choice Mons or like the most powerful attacks of other Pokemon like a Glacial Lance or opposing Astral Barrages and more. So that just allows this Calyrex Shadow to really just be able to be as disruptive as possible. And Astral Barrage, again, really hard hitting ghost type attack. Very simple EV spread, max special attack, max speed. I still think the Shadow Rider is really strong. And in a close team sheet environment with the Focus Sash, it is a pretty generally safe mon because you will be able to always survive one hit with the Focus Sash. And then you can choose between Encore, Disable, or fire off with Astral Barrage. It can be a really good late game cleaner. It can be just a very good disruptor in general because of the Encore, Disable. It's really hard to play around this Calyrex Shadow Rider. Next Pokemon we have is the Mental Herb Tornadus with the Prankster ability that is able to give a +1 priority to any of its non-attacking moves with the normal Terra type to help out against Calyrex Shadow Rider, as well as the Moongeist Beam from the Lunala. The Mental Herb is pretty interesting as an item that's able to help out against Encore and Taunt, so against opposing Prankster mons like Whimsicott and opposing Tornadus, you can generally always just get a safe Tailwind up and don't have to worry about like max speed Taunt, Speed Tie for instance. A Bleak Wind, which is able to do a lot of damage, a spread flying type attack with the Rain Dance, which makes it 100% accurate. Tailwind for the speed control, and Protect to keep itself around. The Eevee spread, it is a pretty bulky Torn, but still runs a good amount of speed. It's 68 speed with a timid nature. This allows the Tornadus to outspeed Modest Landorus Incarnate, Modest Chi-Yu, Adamant Urshifus, which is very nice. So you can go for the Bleak Wind before they can attack, so you don't have to go for the Tailwind immediately. You have 228 HP, so you are just able to tank attacks pretty well with the 164 defense. I believe this is just for like general bulk, like taking the body presses, surging strikes, and a bunch of other physical attacks. 44 in special defense and 4 special attack. It's more of a Tornadus that's able to chip away at your opponent, but also just be able to tank attacks and have a good amount of speed, especially so it can outspeed Pokemon. Like the 154 after the Tailwind does allow the Tornadus also just to be able to outspeed any base 135s that do have a +1, like a Choice Guard Miraidon or a +1 Jolly Coridon. Next Pokemon we have is the Life Orb Landorus Incarnate with the Sheer Force, which just the power of Life Orb and Sheer Force, boosting up the power of the Earth Power and Sludge Bomb in exchange for not taking a Life Orb recoil or the secondary effects of Earth Power and Sludge Bomb. Absolutely incredible. With the Water Terra type, that's just able to help out against Water Urshifu, Calyrex Ice Rider, and a bunch of other Pokemon that can hit the Landorus super effectively. Substitute, which is able to allow the Landorus get behind the sub and have a decoy, which is pretty nice, especially against the Miraidon matchup, because you can find out what they lock into. You can go for Substitute if they lock poorly, and Substitute will prevent the Landorus from going down immediately, which is also really helpful. And Scout for attacks. And yeah, it's a pretty simple Landorus. It's a really bulky one with 244 HP, 20 defense, 68 special defense, and 60 speed. 60 speed allows you to speed creep like Modest, the Raging Bolt, and Pokemon that would outspeed that by 1 point. 116 with a Modest nature just gives you an extra jump point in the special attack, while the rest is invested into defense and special defense accordingly. It's just a Landorus that is able to really be able to help out and tank the attacks incredibly well, while being able to fire off really powerful damage with the Earth Power and Sludge Bomb. Really good into stuff like Zamazenta, into Miraidon, and more. Next Pokemon we have is the Mystic Water Urshifu, powering up its water type moves with the Unseen Fist ability that is able to hit its opponents with its contact moves to Protect, with the Water Terra type to power up its water type moves even further. With Surging Strikes, powerful water type move that always crits, multi-hit, Aqua Jet for the priority, Taunt, which is just able to be disruptive, especially preventing like Spore on Amoonguss, the Trick Room from Cali Ice Rider, and more. And then Detect to keep itself around. Its EV spread is running 44 HP, 140 attack with an Adamant nature to give it a jump point in its attack stat, a good amount of special defense just to be able to tank, like for instance Astral Barrage if you decide to go for Terra or the Psychic from Shadow Rider, and then 204 speed, which is able to outspeed base 90s with a neutral nature such as the Kyogres out there. It is Urshifu. It is very powerful. I think we all know this because it is really strong with Tornadus, and you can afford to run a more bulky one against the Calyrex Shadow Rider. It's just putting on a lot of pressure with the Terra Water Mystic Water set that can threaten the Focus Sash Calyrex Shadow Riders out there and just power up its water type moves. It's great against the Calyrex Ice Rider Trick Room stuff because you can go for Taunt to shut down the Calyrex Ice Rider. You can also shut down the Amoonguss on the opposing side if they don't have Mental Herb, so you can go for the Taunt, which is very helpful. And yeah, it's just a very disruptive mon, great in Tailwind teams because you hit through Protect and just support the team, because Zacian and Calyrex Shadow don't like Incineroar, so being able to just break through Incineroar very easily, there's not really much to say about it. And the final Pokemon, the Assault Vest Incineroar with the Intimidate ability, the Grass Terra type that is able to help out against super effective water and ground type moves, while also allowing it to be immune to the powder type moves with Flare Blitz, Knockoff, Fake Out, and U-Turn. It's a pretty standard Assault Vest Incineroar. It's just a very popular pick in the format right now, just because the Assault Vest really helps out, allows the Incineroar to be able to switch in to the Calyrex Shadow Rider, which is just such a useful thing. Be able to switch into a Miraidon and survive one hit usually. It is able to just tank attacks and fire off some pretty good damage with its great coverage. Flare Blitz, of course, is able to hit Calyrex Ice Rider, Amoonguss, opposing steel types, and more. You have the Knockoff for the Calyrex Shadow Rider and just getting rid of items in general. U-Turn, of course, to be able to pivot, hit the Dark type Shadow Riders, and more. And then, of course, Fake Out, which, of course, is a great support move that is able to help out the rest of the team. EV spread wise, you do have 244 HP as a bulky Incineroar, 36 attack, that gives it a jump point with the Adamant nature, 124 in defense, just so you can be able to switch into physical attacks really well, such as the Glacial Lance from the Ice Riders especially. 76 in special defense, takes advantage of the assault vest, and then 28 speed investment is allowing the Incineroar to hit a speed stat of 84, which under Tailwind hits 168, which allows Incineroar to outspeed any max speed base 100s under Tailwind. So across the board, Incineroar really great. It has great type coverage, allows a pivot, a switch in, which is very helpful because you turning into your Zacian is very beneficial in the opposing Incineroar matchup, because you don't want your Zacian intimidated, because you only get one Intrepid Sword boost per battle. So you want to make sure you time it correctly. It's able to break focus sashes, it's able to put on a lot of pressure, it's able to switch into Calyrex Shadow Rider, all things I believe the team does very much appreciate. So how to use the team? A lot of the team is more of an offensive nature. You have a lot of things that can disrupt, of course, and you have a lot of just offensive across the board. You have the Tailwind mode with Tornadus that can just lead with any partner. Of course, Torn Ursh, we all know how solid it is, but you also have the Torn Landers combination that is just able to put on a lot of pressure against like the Miraidon teams. Torn Ursh, of course, with the Rain Dance Surging Strikes, the Tailwind Surging Strikes, just very aggressive. You have Torn Zacian as well, or Torn Calyrex Shadow Rider, really powerful restrictors that just benefit from the Tailwind and outspeeding your opponent. You also have other combos like Calyrex Shadow Rider or Zacian next to each other, or next to an Urshifu that can just put on a lot of pressure. You have setup modes with the Incineroar next to Shadow Rider, Incineroar next to Urshifu for like the Unseen Fist attack plus the fake out pressure, Incineroar plus Zacian, and Incineroar plus Calyrex Shadow Rider just puts on a lot of offensive pressure. Even Incineroar Torn, you can go for like a U-turn to pivot into something safer and then get the Tailwind up later. There's just so much you can pretty much just do with this team. And of course, Incineroar plus Landorus Incarnate, you could go for Fake Out Substitute, or you could just go for like attack straight off the board. It is a team that relies a lot on positioning and offensive nature because of the power that the team does have with very strong attackers across the board, while trying to give your opponent less momentum by using disruption on the Calyrex with Encore and Disable, so they can't use their most powerful attacks, while the rest of the offensive attackers that are a bit more fragile but usually able to tank one hit because of their good natural bulk, so they can fire off attacks consistently. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. But let me know in the comments down below, what restricted duos that we don't commonly see in Regulation I that were popular in the past do you think have a lot of potential? Calyrex Shadow Zacian literally was the most popular restricted duo other than maybe Zacian Kyogre, and it did win the World Championship back in 22. And I do think it is a duo that definitely is very underrated. And I think there are other stuff. I think there's some Kyogre builds, probably with like maybe Kyogre Miraidon and a few others that definitely have a lot of potential. So let me know what other duos that you think have potential in this format that we just don't see, especially if they were from the past, like we saw Palkia plus Calyrex Ice Rider. There's a reason why that kind of fell off, but there are probably some more duos that I'm just not thinking of that probably have a lot of potential in the format. So let me know in the comments down below, but otherwise let's get started and play some games. Miraidon, Lunala, Incineroar, Urshifu, Ursaluna, and Whimsicott. This is pretty classic. The team that won NAIC. How do I want to perform against this team? It's all right. Sash Shadow Rider helps because we can actually put on a good amount of offense. The Lando's really good. I want to bring Taunt Ursh, I think. Kind of weird because if I go with that mode, then I can't bring... I mean, I don't think I'm bringing Torn in the matchup, so that's fine. I think the combination is probably to lead the Instant Lando. Instant Lando's probably okay. Instant Lando's pretty strong. Do I want to bring Ursh? Ursh is tempting. It really is tempting, but I don't think it's necessary to win. I think it's probably Zacian and Calyrex Shadow Rider back. And I kind of like the lead of Instant Lando because if they lead something like Miraidon plus their Instant, I think I have really good amount of pressure, because if they decide to Draco lock in, I'm in good. Ooh, they led Instant plus... Oh, this is bad. Instant Ursh. I wish I let Shadow Rider, man. If I let Shadow Rider, would have been good. They have a faster Instant. This is not looking too hot. Okay. I'm shocked they led this. Okay. I don't really need Instant too much. I need the Lando around. I'm just gonna Earth Power their Instant, and I'm gonna do I want to U-turn out, or do I want to go Hard Zacian? I think Hard Zacian's correct. Hard Zacian's correct. Okay. If they terrestrialize to avoid a fake out, that is good for me, but I'm pretty sure they're just going to go for a Surging Strikes and a fake out in Orlando, and I can't stop it. If they do that, it's fine because I get my Zacian in and I put on a lot of offensive pressure with Play Rough into the Urshian, Earth Power, and Incin. And if they Terra to get out of the situation, I'm actually still in a good spot. Alright. So no Terra on their side unless the Ursh is slow. We bring out the Terra on Orlando for Terra Water. Even though it'll be weaker than Miraidon, I still have a Zacian and I have Shadow Rider in the back. You can't have Ursaluna plus Lunala and Miraidon, so it's only a combo of the 3. They do go for the faster fake out of my Incin, which is risky on their part, but it works out for me because they went for Surging Strikes into the Lando. That should be banded damage based on how much it's doing to Lando, because doing half to Terra Water is insane. Or like a little bit under half, but that works out nicely. Perfect. And we get the Earth Power into Incin. If we don't KO, that's actually super ideal. That is super ideal. Perfect. Because now I can go for an Earth Power into the Ursh slot, and I can go for... I just want to double the Ursh. Yeah, it's not necessary to double the Ursh. I think I just Earth Power the Incin, and I go for a Play Rough into the Ursh. They don't have any switches. They probably have to let both Pokemon go down. If they want to Terrasilize to get one Surging Strikes off, I think it's a bad trade, especially if it's Miraidon Lunala back, because then they will be risking Play Rough Miss unless they have Choice Scarf on the what's it called, the Miraidon. So I'm feeling pretty good about this position. Okay, well, it was a bad lead, ended up working out pretty well with like this play. We do see a Terrasalization, so this is probably Terra Ghost on Ursh, unless they Terra Water. If they Terra Water, I'm actually in a weird spot. Why do I do this to myself every time? Why do I do this to myself every time? Okay. I missed a Play Rough too. That's so bad. Oh, but they target Zoc. Oh, but I'm going down because of that. Oh. That's so dumb. Okay. I can play out of this, but it's not easy per se. Earth Power? Okay. So Incin goes down, which is ideal. We're gonna go Calyrex first. They probably bring in Lunala. There's no way you bring in Miraidon if I bring in Incin and click fake out Earth Power. Well, I guess you could, because you could go for Volt Switch Surging Strike. So I guess you could bring out the Miraidon. I'm fine if you bring out Miraidon, actually, though, because I'm going to disable the Urshian to disable the Miraidon if that's the case. If they bring in Lunala, I'll just... I mean, I'm still going to disable the Ursh probably regardless. Yeah, they do bring in Lunala. Perfect. I'm actually going to go for Substitute with my Lando and disable, because I think that's the best way to reposition my Lando here. Oh, perfect. They wide guard. That's so good for me because I disabled the Urshifu, and now that Urshifu won't be able to click the Bandit Surging Strikes, and I can Encore the Lunala the next turn, and I get a free Substitute up. So amazing position. Amazing position. Now we're going to Earth Power threaten the Ursh, and we're going to Encore the Lunala. If they switch on to Miraidon, they are crazy, but I do think that's a very fair play. So let's see what they decide to do. But oh man, this is good. This is good. I wasn't sure if they were going to wide guard 100%, but it worked out amazing here. And even if they attack, like they can only target one slot, I do have Focus Sash on the Shadow Rider, and I did have the Substitute going up with the Landers. That was most likely faster. So this works out beautiful. Encore into the Lunala, into that wide guard. Beautiful. And Ursh cannot go for an attack. It goes for the struggle into my sub. Does this break my sub? No. Perfect. As I do get the Earth Power off into the Urshifu. Urshifu goes down to the critical hit. Doesn't matter there. I'm pretty sure Earth Power was going to KO at 75 since it's not a Assault Vest. Urshifu goes down, and now I get to go for Earth Power into their Miraidon, and I get to go for... Do I want to disable the Lunala, or do I just want to allow the Lunala to do its thing? I could just protect Earth Power. Actually, protect Earth Power is just super safe. There's... Well, this is Snarl Miraidon, I guess. I should scout for that, right? I mean, I have other plays too, actually. No, it's Encore in 3 turns. Yeah, I just double protect to scout for what the Miraidon's locking itself into. Then if it's Snarl, I go for disable. If this is Scarf Snarl. Don't be Scarf Snarl, please. The wide guard. This Miraidon has something, doesn't it? Okay, it's just Electrodrift. That's fine. I'm encoring the Calyrex, or I'm encoring the Miraidon into Electrodrift. Because if they have Snarl and it's a mix-up, I'm not letting them do that. I am not letting them do that. So I will encore and go for Earth Power. I'm pretty sure even if it's a Self-Vest Miraidon, it will go down to the attacks. And even if not, if they can only go for Electrodrift, that's a single target move, I can encore the Lunala. I still have other ways that I can play around this. I can also disable the Miraidon as well. So there's like so many things that I can do. Electrodrift, it targets down my Lando Substitute. Super ideal. And then I should be able to get the Earth Power and KO the Miraidon. Are you a Assault Vest? Because that's a big one. We know that's not Scarf at the very least. Here comes Earth Power. KO's Miraidon. Yep. Miraidon goes down, and we go for Encore again into the Lunala. We go for Earth Power. Then we can go for Astral, or, well, we wouldn't be able to Astral because they're locked in the wide guard, but, you know, same thing applies. That's the power of this Calyrex Shadow Rider. The Encore Disable set is very powerful in the right conditions, especially against like this kind of team where it's like multiple choice mons. So super ideal. Earth Power going to come out into the Lunala. Actually, no, we already confirmed the instant was Assault Vest, so the Miraidon couldn't be Assault Vest. But in the world, like the instant is just like max special defense, but I just don't think so. Now we Earth Power, we go for Disable, and then we can Astral Barrage the Lunala. The game is over. Oh boy. That is the power of Encore Disable Shadow Rider. Turn 1. Not bad. Turn 2. Pretty bad. Turn 3. Huge advantage. That's all I gotta say. And then we just kept our momentum from there. All right, we have Incineroar, Kyogre, Urshifu with Lunala, Tornadus Incarnate, and Ursaluna. Definitely an interesting team. I'm kind of curious if it's Dark Urshifu. I don't know. The team looks a little bit weak to Rillaboom stuff. I don't run Rillaboom on this team, unfortunately, but we'll see. We have Torn Mirror potentially. I do like... what do I like here? I wouldn't mind letting Torn Ursh, but the problem is depends on the Kyogre set immensely. Because otherwise I could like go for like Surging Strikes plus a Tailwind immediately, or go for a Taunt, which would be really good. Dealing with their own Urshifu, especially Scarf Urshifu, is going to be problematic. I don't think I like Instant too much in this matchup, even though it's great against Lunala. I think I got to play offensively against this team. I think my play is probably to just delete Torn Ursh immediately and have Shadow Rider plus the Zacian in the back. It's gonna be complicated because Kyogre is not a fun matchup, I think, for this build specifically. Like Kyogre, we don't have the best ways of threatening it. We do have Play Rough on the Zacian, which is probably like our best way to hit it, but otherwise we're gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna see the lead of Incineroar Kyogre immediately. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We lead Torn Ursh, as we will get the Rain set up in the Intimidate, but that's alright. Kind of curious on what we're gonna see here. So I don't want to Tailwind immediately. I do want to just double protect because it is the safest play that we do have. And then I would love damage into the Kyogre. The only problem is I'm kind of curious on, do I think this is Scarf or not? I still think our play is just to double protect. Let's see if they go for... Let's see what they have here, because there's not too much that they can threaten with the Kyogre through the double protect here. So let's see. Big Out going to come out, target down the Ursh. Fine. What did Kyogre go for? Thunder, Water Spout, Water Spout. Okay. So I'm gonna go for Tailwind and just go for a Surging Strikes because I want to ensure that my Urshifu is faster than the Kyogre, and I think that's super valuable. So we're gonna go for Surging Strikes and a Tailwind because we need the damage onto Kyogre. We're gonna see Helping Hand. So this might be Helping Hand Water Spout or Helping Hand Origin Pulse. We'll find out, I suppose. The Tailwind is gonna come out. All right. And here comes the Surging Strikes. But Mystic Water, that seems like a really bulky Kyogre, and I mean really bulky. That is not doing that much damage, actually. For Mystic Water Rain? Is that like max defense Kyogre? Or maybe. Is it max defense specs? Origin Pulse. Well, it's not Water Spout, so Origin Pulse does so much damage, but that's all right. Okay. And then we bring out our Calyrex, or do we want to go Zacian? I think I want to go Calyrex first. And the reason I'm going to go Calyrex first is because I want to punish the Incin by going for an Encore. I think that's ideal. Yeah, I'm going to go for Encore into the Incineroar, and I'm going to Surging Strikes the Kyogre. The reason I'm going to Encore is because I don't know if this is Helmet Incin, and I don't want to Surging Strikes the Incin just yet. If they go for Helping Hand like this is perfect because I do get a free Encore into the Incineroar, and I do get a free Surging Strikes into the Kyogre slot still. And the Surging Strike should KO the Kyogre, which is massive. So that actually works out because if the Incin wants to go for another move, it has to switch out, which is super ideal. And because I have the Tailwind advantage, please tell me I KO with a Surging. Okay, I was about to say, like, that second hit looks spooky. That second hit looks super spooky. But luckily, we were able to KO still. Perfect. And now we have a good position to just draw off Astral Barrages and Surging Strikes, which is pretty good. Lunala coming in. So I'm kind of curious if they have a defensive terror like Grass. I wouldn't be surprised if this is Grass. I think I'm just going to go for an Astral Barrage, and I'm going to go for Taunt into the Lunala. Because I feel like it's either Grass or Water if they're staying in like this. Lunala does Terra. Fairy. Didn't it go down to Astral Surging? I'm like pretty confident it did. Okay, that's fine. We go for Helping Hand because they are forced to with Incin. Let's see if this is Trick Room. If this is Moongeist, mean we do have Sash on our Shadow Rider, so we're in a good spot. Yeah, we put on a good amount of offense. We crit the Lunala. I don't think it's going to matter too much as we taunt the Lunala here. Okay. You can't be serious. You can't be serious. There's no way that just happened. It can't be. Are you serious? Oh my goodness. Do I have an out? I'm trying to think. I am trying to think. I think they're going to target the Urshifu. If they set up Trick Room, this is probably Bear in the back. Oh, dude, if I just click Surgery, I'm in a good spot. They're going to go to Bear and target the Ursh, right? Like, that's always their play. Bear is in. And I can't really go on the offense. My Shadow Rider can't touch the Bear. They go for Moonblast. Okay, let me think. Is it possible to win? Maybe. It's like super unlikely though. Rain stops. Tailwind peters out. Are they gonna wide guard Earthquake? I feel like that's your option. At the same time, do I have anything that stops that? I don't think I do. I do not think I do at the very least. I think I would wide guard Earthquake if I was them. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to Encore them, lock them to Earthquake. The reason I'm going to do this is because if they're locked into Earthquake, maybe I can pull something off of Zacian. Okay. As I Encore the Ursaluna and Earthquake. I mean, they also have another option for play. But at this point, I kind of have to make this decision. I'm pretty sure I do got to go Zacian, and I think it's going to come down to, does the Lunala stay in to click wide guard, or are they going to switch out to the Ursaluna? I think in order to win this, I need like a double protect on the Shadow Rider, and I need... Yeah, I need a double protect on Shadow Rider. I got a Terra. I go for a Sacred Sword into the Ursaluna. They stay in, so they're clicking wide guard, because if they Earthquake and they don't wide guard, they knock out their own Ursaluna. They knock out their own what's it called, Lunala, and then I'm still in a good spot. So let's see. We will Terra Fairy. Okay, I think this is winnable if I get a double protect with Shadow Rider. I think this is winnable if we get a double protect with Shadow Rider. They go for wide guard. Okay. Go for Earthquake. Yep, I should easily live a Earthquake since I got rid of my ground weakness. Perfect. Okay, and Sacred Sword should KO the Ursaluna. It does. Perfect. Okay, we have a chance. We have a chance. Is it the best chance? No. Is it a chance? Yes. So Incineroar is going to come in. I wish I got more damage on it earlier because I don't think... Well, it depends on the Incineroar too, because it's helping hand. It might only have knockoff, which means they might not be able to touch the Zacian. But I do think our best odds is getting the double protect with Calyrex and protecting our Zacian. Zacian will get the protect. The Shadow Rider do as well. Okay. Depends on the Incin a lot then. A Moongeist Beam and knockoff. Also, why is the Incineroar faster than the Lunala? Okay, they knock off. Okay. We Behemoth Blade the Lunala, because it probably doesn't have wide guard. If it's wide guard, Trickery, Moongeist Beam, Moonblast, we've seen all the moves. So we go for Behemoth Blade into Lunala. I think the big question is how much... I don't think we win. It depends on the Incineroar item. If it's safety goggles, we're in a good shape, but if it's like helmet, we just lose. So Lunala goes down to the Behemoth Blade. Goodbye, Lunala. What is the Incineroar? They go for Parting Shot. Okay, what does more, Play Rough or Sacred? Because the Play Rough is doing 180, right? I guess Sacred Sword's also technically doing 180, and Sacred Sword can't miss, so we go for Sacred Sword. I think it's going to come down to Rocky Helmet. Okay, we still KO the Incineroar after 2. Oh, it's not Rocky Helmet. Oh, thank goodness, because there's Rocky Helmet. I'm pretty sure, like, well, actually, if they went for knockoff twice plus the Rocky Helmet, I think we lived that, and then we would KO the Incin, and because of how Gen 9 Rocky Helmet works, I'm pretty sure that even if we feint a Rocky Helmet, we still win the game, which is kind of a dumb change. I still don't agree with that Rocky Helmet change, but I think we win. Oh my goodness. I did not think it was looking good. If I could have just Astral Surging, Terra Water, or not Terra Water, Surging Strikes in range of Mystic Water after the Xiaoxi was broken, I think it would have knocked out the Lunala. I was playing around a Terra Grass angle. Did I think it was going to be Mental or Lunala? No. No. What a disaster that was, but somehow able to come out on top of that one by playing a little bit out of my mind by going for that Encore, expecting a wide guard plus the Earthquake there. And because I was able to Encore, they had to choose who was like, they couldn't switch, they couldn't do anything with the Lunala slot because they were forced to wide guard or switch out Incin, which both are bad because Earthquake would KO their side. If they switch out to Ursaluna, that's a lot of offensive pressure that they're leaving behind on the board, and the Incin's taking Sacred Sword is still not like great for them. So Very happy with that, how that worked out. Incineroar, Urshifu, Whimsicott, Calyrex Ice Rider, Ogerpon Heartflame, and Miraidon. Okay. So I do love Zacian plus the Calyrex Shadow Rider. Of course, they're really strong here. They do have Ogerpon Heartflame and Incineroar, which is interesting. So I'm kind of curious on what route I want to take. I don't think I'm ever bringing Torn in this matchup, even though there's triple Flying Week, because they're definitely bringing the Cali Ice and the Miraidon. Actually, they might not bring Cali Ice, but I feel like you should. They could bring like Whimsicott, Miraidon, plus like Incin or Heartflame, I suppose. They're definitely bringing Heartflame, I think. The redirection's really good. What do I want to go here? Incin plus Lando isn't too bad. I kind of want a Shadow Rider lead because I think Shadow Rider offensively is pretty strong here. Or do I could lead Zacian, but I don't think it's necessary. I think I'm going to do Incin Lando. I think Incin Lando's just so good. As long as it's not like Incin lead with Zacian plus Shadow Rider back. Let's see how this is going to go. I think it's a pretty decent combo, so we'll figure it out. But I like the idea of having my Shadow Rider and my Zacian in the back as cleanup because I don't want to lead Zacian against Intimidate. They do lead the Calyrex Ice Rider and Incineroar, which is fine. Okay. Whose Incin's faster? This is going to be important. I wish I let Shadow Rider now, but it's all right. Their Incineroar is faster. That's fine. Okay. Let's clear Amulet. Okay. They can fake out my Lando or fake out the Incin. I do have Terra Water. I could go for a Terra Water play immediately. I don't know if I want to go for the Terra Water play immediately. It's not a bad play per se. I think I go for Substitute and Fake Out. They fake out my Incin, which is fine. Do they Trick Room or do they attack aggressively? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. I think a Substitute's really good here to stall out a turn and just scout for what they want to do. They do fire off a Glacial Land, so I could have got Zacian in, which is a shame, but I mean, I think this is still pretty valuable. Now they got to respect the Lando going for sub, and I'm glad I subbed because now I can protect this turn, which is cool. Okay, I'm gonna protect my Lando, and I think I'm gonna U-turn their. I think if I U-turn their Incin, it might get me the chip damage to put in Earth Power range, so I think that's worth it. There's also a chance that Cali Ice could protect this turn. Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't want to go for it. Okay, awesome. And they U-turn my Incin. So this actually works out pretty nicely in my favor because I can bring out probably Shadow Rider, actually. I can draw off an Encore. Or they bring out Ursh? Okay, they bring in Ursh. Perfect. I'm glad I didn't get greedy. If I got greedy, that would have been really bad. So this works out huge in my favor, actually. I am going to go Shadow Rider. I think I go for my Terra Ghost play, actually, in Astral Barrage. There's a lot of the Ursh. Do I think this is Scarf Ursh? I don't think so. It'd be Sash, though. I feel like I would risk it. Yeah, I would risk it. I broke its Sash anyway, so I'm going to Earth Power, and I'm going to go for Terra Ghost Astral. Terra Ghost Astral should KO their Urshifu. If there's Scarf, that's the only concern. But the thing is, if there's Scarf, in order to KO my Shadow Rider, they have to go for Surging here. And I also still have my Sash intact for the Calyrex Ice Rider Glacial. No Terra on their side, so I'm liking the odds of my play here as we go for the Terra Ghost. Because Astral Earth Power will KO the Cali Ice slot no matter what. Unless it's Grass Terra. I don't think it should be Grass Terra on this team, though. Because they have Double Fire. They have Ogerpon Heartflame for Mungus. Yeah, it's Terra Water. Okay, that makes more sense. Perfect. So I think Terra Ghost Astral plus Earth Power should KO the Cali Ice. Unless it's insanely special defensive, but I don't think so. Aqua Jet going to come out. Doesn't KO my Lando. I didn't think it would. Astral Barrage gonna be fired off. I could have encored to Cali, but guess not. Here comes Astral. Huge damage, KOs the Ursh, and I'm pretty sure Earth Power should easily get the KO onto the Cali Ice at that range. Like, this is Lando Eye. Ooh, we don't actually, but you know what? I'll take it still. Oh, they Trick Room too. That's actually the best case scenario. You know what? I will take it. Okay. Beautiful. They bring an Ensign. Okay, so they could definitely still win. They have to make a hard read, I think. They have to make a hard read. I think so. Here's the thing. I'm worried if they high horsepower my Lando Eye and read the switch. So I'm gonna make the other play of protecting the Ensign and switching out Shadow Rider, because I don't really need a special attack boost. It doesn't change anything in this game. I like the idea of going out into my own Ensign on this slot, because I think it's very less likely they go for high horsepower knockoff in this slot. I think if they do anything, they're gonna Glacial Lance and fake out, or not fake out, knock off Glacial Lance, or they're gonna high horsepower my Lando Eye, expecting the swap to my Ensign on that position. Yeah, they high horsepowered my Lando slot. Yeah, that's why I thought I could lose. So I made the play that was less likely for them to predict here. Beautiful. Beautiful. And they even afford to protect. I think as long as I stall out these Trick Room turns, I win the game with Calyrex. Yeah. I think I just go on the offense. I don't need Lando Eye to win the game. I'm gonna fake out an Earth Power. They attack aggressively because they're worried about like substitute from the Lando, which makes sense. So I do get the fake out. I do KO the Cali Ice, and now I'm in a great spot, I think. You go for Flare Blitz. I didn't want to switch in Zacian because of that. I did debate about it, but only if it was knockoff, but the Flare Blitz was just so more likely. Okay, super ideal. Now I gotta figure out how I clean up this end game. I'm pretty sure I clean up this end game with Zacian. So just gotta position the Zacian. What's the best way to set this up? I think it's Shadow Rider first, as the Miraidon comes in. Trying to figure out how I set this up. I'm pretty sure it's knock off the Miraidon slot. Shadow Rider Protect is super obvious. Do I lose if I only lose if I get crit, I think, in the end game. Protect from Shadow Rider is just so obvious. I don't know if they would. You know what? I'm just gonna Astral and knock off the Miraidon, because I don't need to protect to win this end game. But if I do win this mind game, I'm just put in such a great spot. Oh, it's Choice Scarf, and they did go for my instant like I thought. Yeah, like it was kind of obvious. Perfect. Nice. Yeah, nice. Okay, I had Zacian in the back, and because I was able to get rid of the item, I didn't think it was Choice Scarf, but that actually helped because it allowed my Zacian to outspeed later in the part. I felt like even if I lost Shadow Rider there and then lost my instant on the turn I protect Zacian, as long as I don't get Flare Blitz crit, I'm pretty sure I had the game sealed at that point. So we do get the Astral KO into the Miraidon, which is going to finish it off, and now we double protect to stall out the last turn of Trick Room and then Zacian in. So kind of just got my opponent on a lot of the aggressive turns, and I'm glad I didn't play super greedy, right? Because like I could have kept a +1 Shadow Rider for instance, but I felt like out of anything, like the protect switch to instant play was obvious, and they read that, right? So I ended up making a bit of a different call, and it ended up working out perfectly. So now I double protect, and then I encore the Incineroar once Trick Room's over into the unoptimal move. If they go for knockoff, I 100% encore it. If they go for Flare Blitz, I disable it. So super nice. Okay, I think I played really well on that one. that I was just able to position super well. Even though the lead wasn't that ideal, I felt like a lot of the plays I made were pretty safe mid grounds, and even the more aggressive plays that I made didn't have that much downside. Roaring Moon, Zamazenta, Kyogre, Chien-Pao. There is the Landorus Incarnate and Amoonguss. Alright, so Zacian is pretty so Kyogre is going to be tough. Kyogre is absolutely going to be tough. Trying to figure out like what my best combo is against a team. Is it Torn Ursh? The problem with Torn Ursh lead, it is really weak to Kyogre lead. The problem is I just don't have a good resistant water type moves. I think it's probably Torn Ursh still. I'm debating about it. Like, I think it's probably the best. I definitely want to bring Zacian in my my Calyrex Shadow Rider in the back to put on offensive pressure. Incin, it's only really good against Roaring Moon, which isn't really a problem when I have Zacian, and the Lando Eye is only really good into the Zamazenta, and everything else it's not great against. So let's see. I guess I could sub in front of the Amoonguss, but I think Amoonguss is like the least likely threat that I have to deal with. I think the Kyogre is like public enemy number one. If I can get a Kyogre, that's just so much of the work that I don't have to deal with. So getting rid of Kyogre, I think, is number one. If I get rid of Kyogre without taking too much damage, I feel like I'll probably be in a really good position to win the game. But if I play poorly against Kyogre, or it takes too long to eliminate the Kyogre, yeah, it becomes problematic. So I wonder if they timed out. But Kyogre is definitely the concerning mod. I don't know if they're going to lead it with Amoonguss. If they lead it with Amoonguss, I might just go for Bleak Wind immediately. Let's like taunt. We'll see. Zamazenta, Roaring Moon. This is not what I expected. Okay. Interesting. Are they going to Tailwind immediately, or are they going to delay Tailwind? I think it's fine regardless. I think my best play is just to Bleak Wind and probably just get damage into the Zama. Are they going to Acro turn one? I don't think so. I'm just going to double attack the Zama turn one and see how it goes. I don't know if they're going to Tailwind or if they're going to attack immediately. If they attack with Terra, that'd be a really interesting play. I don't know how it would work here, but I don't think a double up will knock out Torn. At least I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Well, Knockoff and Heavy Slam, I guess, are pretty powerful attacks. It's not the bulkiest Torn. We'll see how this goes, because I'm kind of thinking they try to set up the Tailwind to match my Tailwind, but I don't know. Roaring Moon retreats, so they don't have booster energy for the game. Is that Amoonguss? That's Amoonguss. They were scared of close combat plus Tailwind. Okay, that makes sense. And you don't want to Terra Roaring Moon in this matchup. You see a Terra on Zamazenta. Is this Dragon Terra? If this, you shouldn't be Water Terra on this team. It is Grass Terra, so I mean, Bleak Wind is very good here. Bleak Wind is fantastic here. Go for the body press. I tank it. I mean, this is best case. I get a huge Bleak Wind off. That's really good damage into both. And I am able to get a Surging Strikes off into the Zamazenta, which puts in range of another Bleak Wind. So I have a very... They have a very interesting choice to make the next turn. So they either are going to go for Spore Wide Guard, I think, or they're going to Body Press Pollen Puff. I'm willing to throw off the Bleak Wind, and I'm going to go for Taunt into the Amoonguss, because if I get the Bleak Wind off, I'm in a great spot. And if they go for Wide Guard, I taunt the Amoonguss to prevent them from sporing, and the next turn I can go for Bleak Wind plus like Surging. The Bleak Wind is going to get avoided because of the Wide Guard, which is fine. Amoonguss shouldn't be Mental Herb, but I think if you make this play, it's most likely it's going to be the Rocky Helmet set. Yeah, perfect. Now we go for Bleak Wind and we go for Taunt into the Zamazenta. They can only choose between Wide Guard and go for a Body Press. If they go for the Body Press, they get knocked out to the Bleak Wind. If they decide, hey, I'm going to go for Wide Guard Pollen Puff, which is another option they have, then I prevent the Wide Guard from the Zamazenta in the upcoming turns, and then I just spam Bleak Wind and I can detect the next turn. So feeling pretty good about my offensive positioning. I could also bring in my Calyrex Shadow Rider and Astral Barrage and let Urshifu go down, which is also fine. They switch out the Amoonguss, okay, into the Roaring Moon again. Okay, Roaring Moon comes out. A Wide Guard, but I can Bleak Wind. Okay, perfect. So they know I don't have close combat, so they confirm that. Okay. I kind of want to get damage on the Roaring Moon, because if I get damage on the Roaring Moon, that's really good. Should I Tailwind and taunt the Roaring Moon, or should I just... I don't have to taunt the Roaring Moon because it's not faster than my Zacian anymore. You know what? I'm just gonna Bleak Wind and swap into Zacian. I like that a lot, actually. Because the thing is, if you body press the Zacian slot, it doesn't matter if I take HP as long as I'm getting a knock on the Zamazenta, which means no Wide Guard for the rest of the game, which I think is massive. You go for the Tailwind, so I can go for the Tailwind the next turn, which is beautiful, and then Zacian's in a good offensive position, so I like this a lot. You go for the body press, yep. Zacian takes it. We go for the Bleak Wind and we hit the Zamazenta. We hit the Roaring Moon, which is a bonus, which is nice. And the Zamazenta goes down. Very, very good. Very good. Okay, awesome. So Kyogre is going to come in. There's no way you don't go Kyogre in this position. Oh, they didn't bring Kyogre? What? Against this team, they chose not to bring Kyogre? That is insane to me. Okay. Double Protect to stall out, turn a Tailwind, and then I see if the Lando Scarf or not. That's insane that you don't bring the Kyogre. Were they scared of Terra Water on Zacian? Maybe. Because that's what it's indicating right now. Because the only way you don't bring Kyogre in this matchup, I think, is if you think I'm Terra Water. Earth Power. Okay, so it's Scarf. Yeah, it's confirmed. Okay. And knockoff? Acro, sure. I don't need... Do I need Zacian anymore? Not really. I think my Shadow Rider is just going to clean up this end game afterward. I think I'm just going to go for a Bleak Wind. There's no reason to Terra because I don't survive. I think I go for Terra Ghost endgame with Calyrex anyway. I guess I go for the double. It doesn't hurt if I get it. And if I do get it, I'm in a fantastic spot. Like, it really doesn't matter. I'm just drawing out Bleak Winds and then I'll Tailwind Astral in the final turns. You go for Earth Power. Because they can't touch the Torn. That's the problem. They didn't bring anything to touch the Torn. You go for Acro as I get the Bleak Wind off. I'm really surprised they're not going for Knock. But yeah, we bring in Shadow Rider now, and I think it's really rough for them. They can still win, but I think it's just highly unlikely. Because I double protect on this turn. Stall out their last turn of Tailwind. Then I can go for like Astral, Terra Ghost plus Tailwind. And then I think they're screwed. If they switch out an Amoonguss for the Roaring Moon, which I could see coming out here, that's fine. I mean, it's also kind of risky. Yeah, they don't switch out at all. So they just lose guaranteed because their Tailwind expires. I get to Tailwind myself. I go for Astral. They can't knock out my Shadow Rider because of the fact I'm going to KO their Landorus. They don't have access to Terra, so I don't have to worry about like some Terra Normal, Terra Dark shenanigans. Astral, I don't know if it knocks out Roaring Moon. I think it depends on how bulky their Roaring Moon is, but now I should be able to go for Tailwind Astral, and they have no switches. And again, they can't knock out the Shadow Rider, so Tailwind plus Astral just always wins here. Because since I get the Tailwind up, I outspeed the Scarflando Eye, which means it doesn't get the Earth Power to break my Sash, which means Roaring Moon can't break my Sash. And then Terra Ghost Astral should like two-shot everything on the Roaring Moon and Amoonguss part, because the Amoonguss took chip earlier. And if it doesn't, we gotta go for a Bleak Wind, which is fine. But yeah, no Kyogre is just so interesting. Like, I guess they wanted a Mon that was always going to be faster than Shadow Rider. I get the switching out Roaring Moon because you don't want to Terra Flying in the matchup, because if you Terra Flying in the matchup, it really hurts your Shadow Rider endgame plan. So I get it, but I mean, it worked out immensely. That's kind of the weakness of leading Roaring Moon against like Shadow Rider, because if you do switch out, the Shadow Rider can reverse sweep you. So Tailwind will come out. Terra Ghost Astral should KO the Lando. And it KOs the Roaring Moon too. So yeah, it's 100% good game. I mean, it was already 100% good game already because the Shadow Rider was just in such a dominant position at that point. But yeah, I think we just ended up getting really like, it's so funny that like Torn Ursh was able to pressure the double grass types with Amoonguss and the wide guard bomb, but I was just able to taunt prevent like anything that they could do. I stopped the wide guard, I stopped the spore, and then I would just bleak wind. They really did not bring anything for Torn, which is crazy to me because yeah, like Torn kind of just wrecked shop. I go for a Rain Dance, so my Bleak Winds are 100% accurate, and I go for Astral Barrage. I mean, Astral Barrage is just going to one-shot the Amoonguss, but yeah, they can't do anything. They like, cannot do anything. So yeah, I guess the Kyogre matchup is they don't bring the Kyogre. Calyrex-S Rider, Indie female with Kyogre, Volcarona with Mousehold and Smeargle. So this is similar to the team that got third place at Japan Nats. We featured it. Although the Indie changes the dynamic, I don't know if we'll see the same sets and it's just an Indie replacing it, which I actually really like the Indie trade because I think Psychic Terrain does benefit the team a lot. So how do I want to perform against this? Because I'm not 100% certain. My Ursh is faster or slower than Smeargle? It's faster than Smeargle, so I do want to bring the Ursh. Kyogre again, very tough mon to handle. Very tough mon to handle. I think I have to bring Torn, which kind of stinks, but I think I have to. I think I bring Torn. Is it Torn Ursh? I think it's Torn Ursh. I think it's Torn Ursh. Shadow Rider and Zacian. If they lead Indie, I'm gonna be in trouble. I don't have any electric terrain to prevent spores from the Smeargle. Was the Smeargle Ghost or Grass Terra? I'm like pretty confident it was Grass Terra, which is gonna hurt. So I don't know if I should taunt turn one or not. There's always so many mind games with the Smeargle. Like, does it go for a... There's so many things that the Smeargle can go for. Like, it's not gonna be super happy, but let's see what we can do. Lead wise is going to be the Smeargle Calyrex, okay? There's so many ways that we could approach this. There's so many different ways. Seed Bomb. Does it one-shot my Ursh? I'm not a bulky Ursh. I am tempted to just go for Surging Strikes into Smeargle turn one. And then protect the Torn. I'm just worried if they go for a hard read of like Decorate or something. It could change the team too, so I have no idea if the Ice Rider is going to be different or not. Ah, there's so much I have to get in this mind game. I think we're gonna Surging Strikes and just protect. So let's see if I get this right or wrong. You fake out my Ursh. It in Terra, but that makes sense. If this is Trick Room, it's over. Seed Bomb, okay. Ah, I could have just protected Ursh, but that's fine. No important Moody, which is great. Okay, so Seed Bomb should confirm my suspicions, or it's like really likely. I think we just Surging and swap out into Zacian. Because we don't want to take a Glacial Lance yet. Yeah, we don't want to take a Glacial Lance yet with our Torn. We want to get the Tailwind turns up. Maybe I should have sacked the Torn, but if I... I don't think sacking the Torn is correct, or at least just yet. I don't mind taking the damage on Glacial Lance either. Let's see. So I bring out the Zacian. The attack raise. The Surging Strikes will come out in Smeargle and we take the knock on Smeargle. Okay, good. Good start. I have a feeling I should have tailwinded though. I have a feeling I should have tailwinded and sacked Torn instead. I debated it, but I felt like preserving it. I just wanted to preserve the tailwind numbers. Oh, they seed bomb again. I definitely should have tailwinded. Okay. That's not great. Okay. Although it's fine, I suppose. I'm going to go on a Torn as they're going to go Kyogre. Oh, they went Volcarona first. Okay. That's fine, though. No, that's fine. We're going to go for Bleak Wind. And we're going to Protect. I'm not going to have Tailwind up for the Kyogre, but I can definitely win this endgame without it. Oh, this is going to be rough. I think if I get the Bleak Wind into Volk, then I can go for Terra Ghost, Astral Barrage, plus Behemoth Blade into the Calyrex since it's Terra Grass, and I should be safe. You go for Rage Powder to avoid the Behemoth Blade. That makes sense. Please land the Bleak Winds. I need the Bleak Winds especially. Bad? That's so bad. That's so bad. Oh, well. I think we have lost the game. I think we have lost the game. We have lost the game. Torn. To miss any of the Bleak Winds, it was the Volk. I think we need to hit the Ice Rider too, because I'm pretty sure the Astral and the Behemoth Blade would have been big. But yeah, I think we have an out. It's just we have to crit the Volcarona with Astral. So let's see. I don't even know if this is gonna KO realistically because like I don't even know if even if we get the read right, if we KO, we'll see. Or not read right, but even if we get the crit on Volk, I don't even know if we KO the Ice Rider. It was just we just needed that one Bleak Wind, man. We needed to hit that one Bleak Wind. Let's see how much Astral does. This is Terra Ghost Astral, and then we would have had a Behemoth Blade into the Cali. I think we would have done a lot, but let's see. The Behemoth Blade would have been close though. That's my wait, they didn't protect. What? Or they didn't Rage Powder. What? You survived this? Oh, that's close. I don't know. Oh, it just barely lived. Why did that Flamethrower KO? I was about to say, there was like no shot Zacian went down to Flamethrower. High horsepower. Wait. That changes a lot. I don't get why they didn't Glacial, because if they have Kyogre in the back, they should have just Glacialed. Because they would put me in Scarf Water Spout range. I don't know why they went for high horsepower. Are you going to Tailwind or are you going to Protect Volk? I feel like me just clicking Astro is so obvious. Okay, I think I'm going to Protect. Because I think their optimal play is to protect the Volcarona and sack their Cali Ice so they can get Kyogre in safely. Yes. Now they need a double protect. Perfect. You know what? We'll take it. We'll take it. What's actually funny is even if we missed a Bleak Wind, we didn't get the KO on the Calyrex Ice Rider. That just shows how insane the Sylphus Calyrex Ice Rider is. But I mean, the game's not over yet. They can get the double. They have to get the double too. If they don't get the double, they just lose to Sash Shadow Rider. So let's see. They didn't go for the double? I think they lose. I think they lose here. Because I'm pretty sure that +2 Terra Ghost Astral single target will one-shot the Kyogre. I think you had to go for the double there. But I also think they just drew by not going for Glacial. This is Scarf Kyogre, right? If it's not Scarf Kyogre, then I guess it was an interesting game in general, but like... There's no way you didn't just go for... Yeah, it's Scarf Kyro. They should have just Glacialed. You didn't need the KO into my... You didn't need the KO into my Zacian. You needed the damage. So we will go for Astral. Single target Ghost. Here's the Kyogre. We did get lucky in this game, but I also think it's also because my opponent kind of tossed the end game. Because I think if they just Glacial to break a potential Sash on Shadow Rider, plus get the necessary damage onto the Zacian, because +1 Glacial into Zacian would do at least like, say probably like 35%ish, which just puts me in range of Water Spout from the Kyogre. I guess maybe they were scared of defensive Terra, because I never... No, but I Terra'd my... Wait, did I Terra my Shadow Rider early in the game? No, that turn I went for Terra Ghost Astral. I guess maybe they're scared of a defensive Terra, and that's why they have horsepower. But if you're going for the play of going for the Flamethrower plus the I don't know. Because I still think you should always just Glacial in that spot to put me in range of Water Spout, but... Because you also break Sash on my Shadow Rider guaranteed. Or you just KO my Shadow Rider because it's +1 Glacial. I don't know. I still think the play is to Glacial. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they were just scared of defensive Terra on Zacian. I just can't remember if I Terra'd that turn or I Terra'd the turn after. All right, we have the Incineroar, Miraidon, Urshifu, Whimsicott, Lunala, and Ursaluna. How am I gonna be dealing with the high ranked version? I think I'm still gonna do the same combo, right? I don't really see a reason not to do the same combo of Lando plus Incin, which I think is just really good against the team, and then have Shadow Rider plus the Zacian as the last two. So I'm just gonna go for it. I think the ability of just having Encore and Disable on the Shadow Rider just puts on so much pressure against this. It might come down to some Terras, like the Water Terra on the Ursh actually kind of messed me up if they went for the Surging Strikes, I think, in the Lando, but I think this should work out pretty well. Because I'll be able to dish out a good amount of damage. The Lando Eye is a very hard mon for my opponent to switch into. They have no good switch-ins to a Life Orb, Sheer Force, Earth Power. It's just how well can I position it. So let's see what they decide here. Gonna be the lead of the Lunala Miraidon. They let both restricted immediately. Jeez. Okay. Are you Terra Ghost or Cover Cloak? That's what I want to find out. There's no way you risk your Miraidon turn 1, right? I could play aggressive here, or I could play safe. My aggressive play is reading the Miraidon to switch out. The safe play is just to fake out Substitute. I think I'm just gonna go for Substitute. I could Protect Knockoff too. Protect Knockoff's not like terrible. You know, I am gonna Protect and Knockoff. Because if it's Bear coming in, I'd rather... I don't think they should switch in Bear, though, because Bear would take a lot of damage. Did you retreat the Miraidon? I should have subbed. Like, there's no way you risk Miraidon there. Incineroar. Yeah, I could have got a free attack off. I mean, I still think this is fine in the long term. Not super ideal, though, especially if they went for the Trick Room, but we'll see. Oh, they went for Moongeist Beam, so that's super ideal. Okay. Okay. As we get rid of the Incineroar's item here, which is going to be the Assault Vest. Okay. I can Earth Power the instant slot very freely, and I am going to go for it. And I'm going to go for a U-turn. I could have got a way better turn off that, but I still think that this is pretty ideal. Because I'll go for the Earth Power into Incin, and then we'll figure out what the Lunala is going to click. And then probably bring in our Shadow Rider to threaten the next turn. Because if they go for like Fake Out into Moongeist Beam, it works out pretty well. And I don't think they're going to Terrasilize Incin at this point in the game. Because if they Terrasilize, it would have probably been the Miraidon at the start. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. But we'll see. We will see. Wow. Okay, they gave me the instant no fake out coming out into Orlando. Maybe just get a Terra Ghost. A Moongeist Beam too. Okay. Interesting. As I go for U-turn. This is kind of a weird spot. I mean, I'm gonna go Shadow Rider here. This could get very awkward. So they're forced to Terra the Lunala because if I Astral Barrage, or they could Wide Guard, I suppose. They could Wide Guard. Miraidon coming in. I think if I was them, or are you gonna... This is where it gets weird. If they Volt Switch here, it's not great for me, but I don't think it's awful. I think I'm going to protect and I'm just going to go for an Encore into the Lunala because I think this is Wide Guard coming out with Terra, or they Terra Fairy, Moongeist Beam, or Trick Room maybe. All right, they Terra the Lunala into the Fairy type. That's fine. Okay. So now they're vulnerable to Sludge Bomb from my Lando. And also the Behemoth Blade from my Zacian. So I don't think this is that bad. As I go for the Encore. They didn't Wide Guard, but they can't get Trick Room up, which is nice. A Draco Meteor, my Lando. Okay. And Moongeist Beam. That's fine. I have interesting plays. I could disable the Miraidon and go for a Sludge Bomb / Earth Power. Or I could go Zacian. I kind of like the idea of going Zacian and disabling the Lunala. Yeah. I like that a lot. Because I like putting Zacian in a more offensive position. Because if they switch out the Miraidon, I think it's fine. They stay in, so I'm assuming they're going to just go for Draco Meteor Moongeist Beam, and if that works out, I get a free Zacian in, and then the Lunala can't go for the attack and has to go for a struggle, which is incredible for me. Oh, they made a good play. They swapped out the Lunala. Who's coming out, though? It is the bear. Okay, the bear comes in. Who did a Miraidon target? Because this is a huge one. Nice. Okay, that still works. That still works. Gotta think about this carefully. I mean, I think my safest play is just to terrestrialize my Zacian, go for Play Rough into the Miraidon, and go Incin. Yeah, no, this is always the safest play. As long as I don't miss a Play Rough, I'm good. Or Play Rough against Miraidon. If I miss Play Rough and the switch to Lunala, then it's fine. I just can't get crit by the Ursaluna. I don't think Facade's going to KO after the Intimidate either. They do retreat the Miraidon. That makes sense. Lunala's in. Okay, that's fine. Because we can Behemoth Blade the Lunala the next turn and fake out the bear. So we'll reveal our Terra Fairy. As we Play Rough the Lunala. I don't think this KOs. Yeah, it doesn't. That's fine. Headlong Rush, this shouldn't KO. Yeah, perfect. I wonder if Fake Out KOs Lunala, because if Fake Out KOs Lunala, my best play is just a Sacred Sword. Oh wait, no, it's not Sacred Sword because of the defense drop ignored. Yeah, I just Behemoth Blade the Lunala and I go for Fake Out into Ursaluna. Yeah, that's correct. It's not Scarf, right? I'm like pretty confident it's not Scarf Miraidon. Do we see any signs of it indicating it was Scarf Lunala? I don't think so. If it's Scarf, I can lose, but I think it's really unlikely. No, if it's Scarf, I'm fine, right? Yeah, they switch out the Ursaluna. They go out into the Miraidon. That's fine because I KO the Lunala. I think we're okay, though. We fake out the Miraidon. And Behemoth Blade the Lunala. So Lunala goes down. Trying to think if there's like a guaranteed way to prevent. I mean, if they're Scarlet, they have to lock into Electro Drift, and if they lock into Electro Drift, they lose to Lando Eye, right? Because Earth Power will just finish off the Ursaluna after a few turns of burn, and I can go for like Substitute Stall as well. I think my best play is just to protect my Zacian and sack my Shadow Rider at this point, and I can bring in Instant again and click Fake Out. Yeah, I think this is right. I think this is right. Let's see what attack they're going to go for. Specs Dazzling Gleam. Well, I guess they could lock into Specs Dazzle. Specs Dazzle is actually something, but does that KO my Zacian at this range? It's not Fairy Terra, so it might not. Also, how many turns of Electro Terrain do they have? I gotta double check that afterward, but I mean, still my same play is just Shadow Rider here. The only way this is not to play technically is if I know that it's Specs Miraidon 100% confirmed, because if I confirm if it's Specs Miraidon, I could just sack my instant and disable the Miraidon instead. But I mean, this should still work. They go for Electro Drift and Headlong, or did they Facade? If they Facade, I mean, I win. They Earthquake. Okay. Earthquake their own Miraidon. Miraidon goes down. Beautiful. And then I can go out into my Lando Eye and click Substitute Sacred Sword. And I like that a lot. Yes. Yeah, I like that a lot. So I go Lando Eye, click Substitute into Sacred Sword. They can only target one mana at a time, and yeah, the game's just over at this point. They can't win. No Terrestrialization that they have available. No spread moves that are going to affect this game. Battle going to be forfeit as they realize. Whew, okay. Felt pretty good. I was just able to really threaten the position that they had because the Lunala was just such an awkward spot. The only way I would have been in an awkward spot, I think, if Trick Room went up, but they didn't get Trick Room up, and I was denying it because of the Encore. Even though I had to take attacks, like, it worked out because it's just awkward for my opponent to lock in a Draco Meteor because of the Zacian, which is fantastic. All right, let's go over the games. In game one, it was Miraidon Lunala, but the Terra Water Urshifu variant, which was the one that got second place at Japan Nats. I felt like I was just able to play extremely well and deny the Trick Room from the Lunala, and I was just able to put in a lot of work because my Calyrex Shadow Rider and Zacian was just able to outspeed a lot of the team. Encore Shadow Rider that was disruptive with Disable also just played a big role in allowing me to position against that team so I could get some knockouts. In game two, did it really just have to be Mental Herb Lunala of any case? I thought they brought out Lunala and was like, okay, I didn't think it was going to be Terra Water, but that could screw me over. I thought it was going to be Terra Grass by the way they were playing. I'm like, okay, if it's Terra Grass, I can go for the Taunt plus a attack with Astral Barrage and I'll be completely fine. And as long as they don't get Trick Room up, I'm in a good spot, right? Then it had to reveal the one item that could change it, the Mental Herb Lunala, and they did get Trick Room up. But somehow I was able to maneuver enough where I was able to Encore the Ursaluna and Earthquake, force them into a really awkward spot, and get the KOs that I needed with Zacian, and was able to secure the end game. Thankfully, no Rocky Helmet and Incineroar as well. In game three, the lead was not great, but I felt I played generally well. I didn't make the super obvious plays, but was still able to find some safe spots to find turns I could initiate heavy damage. And because I was able to keep up the momentum, my opponent never really got a big opening. In game four, I'm just shocked my opponent did not bring the Kyogre against. I feel like this is a team you would really want to bring Kyogre against. I don't have the best tools to deal with Kyogre, but they decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to not bring the Kyogre instead. And the fact that I was able to deal with the Terra Grass Zamazenta and the Amoonguss combo with the Taunt Urshifu, they lost their booster energy on the Roaring Moon. I was just able to get a lot of damage using the Bleak Wind on Torn while they couldn't really do much. And then I was just able to set up a very nice end game for the Calyrex Shadow Rider to clean up. In game five, oh man, I got the mind game against the Smeargle turn one wrong, and turn two technically, because I did not think Fake Out Seed Bomb was the play. I thought it was going to be Fake Out Glacial. Then they went for Fake Out Seed Bomb, got a lot of damage to my Ursh, and then KO'd my Ursh. And that wasn't a great start. However, was able to come back surprisingly with the fact that they went for the high horsepower instead of the Glacial Lance with their Calyrex Ice Rider. I guess it was like a very fearful position of like the Zacian having Terra Water to be able to resist the Kyogre attacks, but it ended up working out immensely well for me because of the fact that I didn't take like a +2 Glacial instead, which would have done a ton of damage. And then my Shadow Rider with Sash was able to clean up because I read the Protect on Volcarona, was able to get a +2 double knockout afterward, and then solo the Kyogre because I had my Focus Sash available. So I don't know if Glacial Lance or high horsepower was the better play there. I guess it depends on how bulky you think the Zacian is alongside the Terra on the Zacian. I guess they were really trying to cover for that Terra Water, but it just did not work out. It was a risk that just ended up losing them the game. In game 6, Miraidon Lunala once again, and I felt like I was still able to position really well. My restricteds were just faster than their restricteds, and I was just able to position extremely well, utilizing the Calyrex Shadow Rider especially, and the substitute on the Landers, which was pretty big in allowing me to play around a lot of the ways that they could really damage, because Landers Eye really hard for their team to handle. So how is the duo? I really love this duo, and it's actually more fun than I expected. I've used a very similar team in a global challenge in Regulation G. It was Zacian, Tornadus, Landers, Incarnate, Urshifu, and Incineroar as well. I think the last mon I had was Wellspring Ogerpon over the Calyrex Shadow Rider, and it put in a lot of work. I was able to get top 16 in that global challenge, and I felt like the core of Zacian with double Genies, Urshifu, and Incin were just so strong. So I'm very happy that the team was able to perform well, and I was able to play extremely well with the team. We were actually able to go undefeated. Technically, I feel like we should have lost the 5th game potentially, especially because I didn't play the best. However, that is Pokemon sometimes, so we were able to take all wins, and I still think the duo is actually really good. Like Calyrex Shadow Rider, Zacian, and Urshifu I think like are really good. Lando Eye of course really strong, and Incineroar just a great support mod. So if you would like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. If you would like to try out the team, the rental code is on the screen. Hopefully it's still available by the time the video comes out, and of course subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.